The religious spend all of their time embarrassing themselves, and today is no exception. You'd think they'd figure it out after getting laughed at, but part of standard theology is, well, they're just going to make fun of you, so they just keep dancing like trained monkeys for our amusement. Okay, if that's what you want to do, I'm game. So let's go watch some more stupidity. So we're back with Daily Corvid once again, as he puts his own religious ignorance on display. It's bizarre just how ignorant these people actually are, right? They're quick to proclaim, I know this, but they don't know the difference between knowledge and blind faith. And maybe that's why they sound so dumb all the time, I don't know. Anyhow, let's get back to it, because this is yet another example where the religious go wrong. Not that they care or anything, that's kind of pathetic, but here we go again.
But I can tell you this. It's irresponsible to put the onus of proof on other people when you're the one seeking the truth.
No, it's not. That's how this actually works. If you make a positive claim about reality, then it is your responsibility to back it up. You need to show that your claim is actually true and consistent with the real world. Now, the religious can't actually do that, which is the only reason they're making a fuss. If they had evidence, they'd be running around and shouting it from the mountaintops. You wouldn't be able to shut them up about it. I mean, granted, you can't shut them up now, but they're just embarrassing themselves with their complete lack of rational, defensible, or verifiable evidence, and that's the reason that people like this Daily Corvid or JCO Journey or whoever put this stuff up. They have to distract you from the fact that they've got nothing. If they had something, they just trot it out.
For if I say, I don't believe anything apart from evidence claims that have been validated, unless I go out and look for that evidence, what do I learn?
You act like we haven't already done that. I absolutely did that when I was ejecting Christianity from my life. That's why I did it. I sought out the evidence, and when evidence wasn't forthcoming, I rejected the beliefs as entirely unjustified. That's actually why I ask for evidence to this day. Because if there is something that I haven't already found, I want to know about it. You'd think this would be obvious to this Daily Corvid guy, but apparently not. We are asking you to justify your position, and you cannot do so. That makes you a laughingstock, and that's no real surprise, is it? That's why the religious are trying so hard to shift the burden of proof, because they've got nothing of any demonstrable value to say. It would sure be nice if they had anything to present, but I think we all know otherwise, because this is what you really need to do, and sadly in the case of the religious, they got shit.
Nothing. I've just falsified the world. And in falsifying the world, I learn nothing. I am ignorant, and I root myself into ignorance, and I will learn nothing forevermore.
Describing yourself there, huh? Because that's the problem. You know nothing. You believe a lot of crap, but you have no actual demonstrable knowledge to present. Knowledge requires some justifiable basis in fact, and you've got none of that. If you did, you could just present it when we asked. But you can't do that, can you? Wishes and dreams are not knowledge. Faith is not knowledge. It sounds good to me is not knowledge. That's why we're after your evidence, and you've got none to present. So we're right back at square one with this guy projecting. He assumes we haven't already been out there looking for evidence on our own, which I certainly have, and most atheists that I talk to, they have as well. I can't speak for everyone, but I don't really need to. That's why atheists tend to know a whole lot more about religion than the religious do. Because we've already been there. We know that your beliefs are bunk. Most of us held those beliefs at some time in the past. Now we're trying to get you there, and you're fighting against the real world. Stop being stupid.
So, in conclusion, is the onus of proof on the person making the claim?
Absolutely, 100%. Granted, that's not what he wants to hear, and I suspect in a second he'll deny it because he's an idiot. This is another video getting downvoted into oblivion, and Corvid admits he's censoring comments, so that's not exactly a surprise. Now, he did make a second video on this same subject. I've got no idea if it's worth doing, and at the moment, I don't really care. Nothing he's been saying has been at all impressive, but if you want me to take a shot at a second video, go ahead and let me know that down in the comments, and maybe I'll go take a look. Please try to justify it in some way, because wasting time on some idiot making a fool of themselves, I don't think that's a lot of fun, do you?
If it's a scientific claim, yes.
And claims about gods are scientific claims. I know the religious don't like that, but any claim about the objective state of reality, those all fall under the umbrella of science. Anything that is actually true in the real world, not in your head, but in the real world, that is a scientific claim. If you're going to pretend that God exists in or interacts with the real world, then it is a scientific claim, and you need to back it up with demonstrable evidence. Granted, I don't think it's limited to scientific claims. Any positive claim about reality is subject to the burden of proof if somebody cares enough to ask for support. Therefore, back it up. He can't, of course, which is why he's full of excuses. But we're not exactly surprised by that, are we?
Most definitely. But if you don't validate claims yourself, you will never learn truth.
We've already done that, and we already understand the truth. It's you that seems to have a problem. Speaking only for myself, because that's all I can do, I've been there and I've done that, and I have concluded, based on the evidence that I've seen, that all religions out there are fundamentally false, or at the very least not justifiably true. Now you come along saying that what you believe is true. Great, prove it. Because I've already done my due diligence, and you apparently haven't. Show me that you've done the same. And of course they can't do that because they're running on pure fifis and faith and nothing else of consequence. That doesn't impress me, and therefore I'm going to continue not believing you until you can come up with something else more convincing. And come on, we all know they can't. They're not even trying. They're just trying to shift the burden of proof to others, just like this guy is doing, because he can't be bothered to care about the actual facts. Because the facts are scary. And this guy is an idiot.
So, is the onus on learning truth on someone else? Or is the onus on you learning truth on you?
The burden of proof is always on the positive claimant. Stop being a moron. Of course, that's really all they can do, isn't it? They don't care about the facts, only their faith and fifis, and I'm sorry, but that is positively childish. Everything that comes out of this idiot's mouth is childish. That's a him problem. Granted, I've talked to enough theists over the years, thousands and thousands of them in fact, and this is abundantly clear. They are just making excuses for why they can't put up, and they sure the hell don't want to shut up. I'm right because I like it. No, you're an idiot. Grow the hell up. This is just self-imposed stupidity, and that is nothing to be proud of.
Well, that depends whether you want to learn or whether you want to be ignorant.
And you want to be ignorant. Obviously you do. Because I've already learned. I learned that your religion is idiotic, and I know more about your religion than you do. I learned that you have no evidence to back it up. You only have empty claims and an even emptier faith, and you just really want it to be true. You aren't remotely concerned whether it actually is or not. You're just making a fool of yourself, and this video is not doing you any favors. But I like it doesn't mean anything, and if you can't even learn that lesson, then you are doomed to a lifetime of ignorance. We are not like you. We're better. We've been there. We've done that, and we know far more about your religion than you do. We have the intellectual integrity to go out and check it out for ourselves, whereas you just rely on faith and fifis and cling to your beliefs uncritically because you are, in reality, nothing but a small, scared child. You have no rationality and you have no maturity whatsoever. What the hell is wrong with you?
That's the end of this video. So, in conclusion, truth is there to find. It is not anyone else's responsibility but yours to find it. And if someone brings you a claim, rather than just saying, well, I haven't seen the evidence, therefore it must be false, just think, when you have a dream, you will never be able to prove that you had that dream, but it will always be true.
Except that's not necessarily the case, is it? Honestly, he's still got another minute of video to go, and I have no clue what he's going to do, so if this turns out to be a really short video, my apologies. I can only gauge by the length of the video itself, and since I don't watch them ahead of time, occasionally I just get blindsided by stupidity. So let's just address what he said and see where it goes from there. Just because you think a thing happened, that doesn't mean it actually happened as you think that it did. This isn't just true of dreams, it's true of a lot of things. But it is what it is. Delusion is a thing. In fact, more people remember being at Woodstock than actually attended the thing at all. It was actually attended by about 400,000 people, but worldwide, about 20 million people remember being there. Instead, they saw footage, watched movies, were told stories, etc., 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 and their brains translated that into a remembered experience that wasn't actually real. This is not all that uncommon. Granted, it doesn't just translate well to dreams, necessarily anyhow, but it shows the inherent fallibility of your memories too. Lots of things that you think that you remember never happened at all. Your brain just fills in details, and your memory is only as good as the last time you recalled it. The people who are the most certain of their memories are the ones who are the least educated in how the memory actually works. And I think that describes this jackass, don't you?
And so therefore is God. If you pray, you'll have the evidence. I cannot give you the evidence. No one else can give you the evidence.
And that just proves it. I'll keep doing this as long as the content holds out, but I don't think we're going anywhere interesting, do you? Because I'm sure that he would reject it if somebody prayed to another god and said they got an answer right. The religious are always, works for me, but not for thee. Because again, they don't care about the truth. They're just in it for the fifis. They hear voices in their head and they can't consider any other answer but, God done it. Because that's the answer that they really want. So what if a believer in another religion prayed to their God and got the answer, the Christian God isn't real, I'm just fucking with him? Would this idiot believe it? Well, of course not. That's why looking at morons like William Lane Craig is so pointless. But I've got the inner witness of the Holy Spirit. Says who? Maybe you're just nuts. Ever think of that? Because I sure have. Because that seems to be much closer to reality than any of the other empty claims that these people make. Of course, that assumes he's not just lying for a buck, which Craig certainly seems to be doing, but I can't see into his head, so I'm not going to claim that he's only a con man. Just mostly one. Because nothing he says is justifiable either, is it?
You have to seek the truth for yourself. When you do, you shall find it, and your ignorance shall end there.
And since we've already done that and found that your beliefs do not hold up in the real world, you're right. My ignorance ended there. That's why I'm not a Christian anymore. I did away with my ignorance and I joined the real world. How about you give it a shot? Unfortunately, this kind of falls into the Oprah-esque your truth bullshit. There is no your truth. There's only the truth. The truth that exists regardless of how you feel about it, and the religious tend to have a real problem dealing with that, don't they? Lots of people do. Too bad. The evidence shows that reality is what it is, and how you feel about it or wish was true, that doesn't matter. You do not have your own truth. You do not have your own reality. You only have delusions that deviate from the actual truth of the real world. You've got mental problems. Seek help.
So that's the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed that and you learnt something. God bless you all. And I'll see you lovely people in the next one.
So that seems to be the actual end of it. Not that the last 30 seconds really added anything of substance. I'm not sure what more to add here because this entire thing was just a meandering load of nonsense end to end. It really seems to be another theist who is emotionally attached to their beliefs and really couldn't care less about objective reality. But since atheists point out just how poorly supported any of this is, he feels the need to make excuses and play make-believe because he really wishes it was true. That's how most religious videos work. Now, because this is going to be kind of short, and I'm sorry about that, but that's one of the downsides of not watching the videos ahead of time. When I'm writing responses, if I get a couple of minutes in and realize that it's utterly pointless or completely incoherent or whatever, I just delete it and go on to a different video. And there's probably about a quarter of all videos that I try to address that just go into the waste bin of stupidity. This was bad, but it's not nearly as bad as some that I see. And that's kind of a scary thought, isn't it? The religious really like the silly, irrational ideas in their heads, and they really want reality to conform. Sorry, but I don't care how you want things to be. I care about how they actually are, and that's why I'm after the evidence. And sadly, you just don't have any, at least none that you can present to anyone else, which is why you're playing the dumb my truth game and making a complete fool of yourself. Here's the stuff I really wish was true. Who cares if it isn't actually true? That's why these people are immature children living in adult bodies. Actual adults come to grips with the real world and accept reality as true, no matter how it makes them feel. That's why this guy is getting positively trashed. Not that he cares or anything, because he's just allergic to reality and the facts when they get in the way of his own emotional comfort. There is something really wrong with these people. I wish we could get them committed. At least then we wouldn't have to listen to their insane ramblings. And wouldn't that be nice?